Invincible, an Amazon Prime series based on the acclaimed comic by Robert Kirkland, just brought us its conclusion to the third season. Since its animated release in 2021, I don't think it's a surprise to anybody to say that this is the most popular animated series out at the moment. This series is probably the closest thing we have to Avatar The Last Airbender, i.e., what some might call American anime. On the surface, it's your prototypical superhero narrative, but as you watch, it brings a unique blend of depth, tone, and subversion of tropes that we tend to see in superhero media, and this could be seen by just the first couple of episodes. As I said earlier, Season 3 brought us some great content for us to watch over the last few weeks, so, as someone who never read the comics, here's my review of We start in Season 1 with our main character, Mark Grayson, who is the son of Nolan Grayson, aka the infamous superhero Omni-Man. And little Mark Grayson, who just got his superpowers, is a little wet behind the ears, so the iconic role model and certainly non-suspicious Omni-Man teaches his son how to utilize his newfound powers. While it might appear at first glance to be your average coming-of-age story about a teenager and his superpowers, it is quickly revealed of complex characters, moral challenging dilemmas, and unexpected brutality with the end of episode 1 with Omni-Man committing multiple unalivings. We see Mark, or who is now known as, navigate his world and what being a superhero entails. We see the other superheroes of the world like the Guardians of the Globe and the new Guardians of the Globe and how they step into that role after the Omni-Man incident, which is unbeknownst to them. And finally, Mark, Debbie, and the whole world finding out who and what Omni-Man really is, which is a Viltrumite. And if you're unsure what a Viltrumite is, don't worry, because after crashing out, Nolan explains it to us. You can think of them as Kryptonians, but they're evil dictators who take over the planet, and Nolan is Superman, and he was tasked to take over Earth. So yeah, him being Omni-Man, being with Debbie, having Mark was just a part of a big psyop by the Viltrum Empire to eventually take over Earth. And to nobody's surprise, Mark is horrified by this revelation. Omni-Man tempts Mark to turn his back on Earth, and Mark says,
"I don't give a shit about Viltrum."
Things get a little tense, and Omni-Man leaves. Everything that transpired within Season 1, it truly ends with a chef's kiss. From the narrative and the fairly disturbing violence, we see the intricacies and internal conflict of Omni-Man and the naivety and humanity of, and the destruction of the final battle and its impacts and ramification that it has for planet Earth. The Season 1 of is how you establish a world to an audience and leave them wanting more. Overall, I give Season 1 a 9 out of 10. On to Season 2. Season 2 continues the intense and emotional storytelling with Mark Grayson still grappling with the aftermath of his battle with Omni-Man, while facing new challenges. The season explores his struggles with the balance of his personal life and his responsibilities, while also dealing with the consequences of his father's actions. This includes Mark realizing that he's really the only deterrent from the Viltrumites and really any threat internal or external to Earth. Mostly because the Guardians of the Globe and their fraudulent leader are alright, but they can barely handle the Earth level threats. Mark also reunites with Omni-Man on a random alien planet where he discovers that he has a half-brother. Nolan is taken away by the Viltrum Empire to alien Azkaban as Mark takes home to Earth this purple baby for Debbie to take care of, only to further remind her that her husband is not only a psychopathic alien agent, but he also reproduced with an alien ant. As seen in the ending of Season 1, we are reintroduced to one of, if not the best character in the series thus far, in Alan the Alien, as we see his contribution to the overall story, all while the Viltrumite threat looming larger and larger by the second. We are also introduced into another threat that Mark has to come across, being Angstrom Levy, pushing Mark to confront his fears and responsibilities while also getting belt to ass by almost everyone he faces, except Angstrom, because
I thought you were stronger.
This season is definitely more focused on the characters, doing a deep dive on how the events of season 1 and the ongoing dilemmas of season 2 continue to shape their lives. This is primarily seen with Debbie, who is arguably the most fleshed out character in this season, maybe besides Mark. You can see her overall reflection of the burden she bears due to her unknowingly marrying a mass murderer and the guilt she feels for society and Mark. The side characters like the Guardians of the Globes and their thoughts and opinions on what being a superhero is, as well as their losses that they suffer in this season. And lastly, Mark and Amber as they struggle to maintain a healthy relationship, with Mark being and Amber just being a regular individual. Speaking of Amber, she's definitely more tolerable in this season than the first one. She was literally mad at for saving lives and keeping a superhero identity under wraps. In this season, she's more understanding, but you can see how their lives contrast due to their differences. This season as a whole is definitely not as action-packed as season 1, but this drives the narrative and builds the ideology and motivation of our main cast and even the side cast to a good degree. Now, I would say that the pacing of this season was just slightly off, and I can see why people stated that this season got boring or uninteresting at times. But when you hone in on fleshing out characters as this season did, you're going to get more grounded scenes, which isn't a bad thing. But we all know most people are here for the action and they're not trying to hear all that. So it's good if you like a story who hones in on character development, but understandable if it felt different from season 1. 7 out of 10 for me. We have now arrived at the most recent release, being season 3. Season 3 is more of a hybrid of season 1 and 2, with it leaning more towards season 1 territory, especially with the last 3-ish episodes. Season 3 sees us set the stage for even greater conflicts, the exploration of new relationships between characters, all while planet Earth continues to get decimated by every villain known to man, all seemingly due to our boy Mark continues to grapple with the weight of his responsibility as Earth's protector, but his moral compass is continuously tested as he faces conflict within the world as it continues to get crazier and crazier. Little Oliver has started his superhero journey as Mark takes on a mentor-like role and tries to imprint his naive outlook on what a superhero is. His intimate relationship with Eve takes off as they experience what being a superhero couple entails. Cecil's character and morally ambiguous methods gets a much needed backstory as his motivations come under scrutiny, creating tension between him and Mark. The audience sees why he makes the difficult choices we see him take, as this is what is required to protect humanity as a human. We get the start of Nolan's redemption arc take form with the help of Alan the Alien and Battlebeast as they attempt to reconcile with Mark in hopes to take down the Viltrum Empire. The MVP, Rexplode, undergoes one of the more interesting character transformations as he matures into a selfless, heroic figure rather than a self-centered asshole. And the antagonists in this season are all formidable, from Mr. Lou, Powerplex, the Invincibles, and last, but certainly not least, Conquest. And although it may seem like giving this season nothing but praise, and the series in general that is, it isn't without its faults. Firstly, Cecil at times seems to make some rather stupidly convenient choices for the narrative and just to create conflict between our main cast. Most notably in the last episode of this season, which was definitely a plot point that they're going to visit later in the series. Also, getting whooped for the majority of his fights is quite comical, but it does beg the question if he's really built for, this. And I know it's character development and to show that he has a long way to go, but come on, man. We're going to need you to step it up. Lastly, and probably the most common gripe we see in the community, is the show's animation. Now, I, for one, don't have too much of an issue with it. Like, yeah, I would love to have some JJK or Demon Slayer levels of animation quality, but with JJK specifically, we all know the working condition that MAPPA induces on its animators. Newsflash, it's not good. And with the demand and quick turnaround that the fans demand with the series, sorry to break it to you, but the animation is going to suffer. Yes, it's a little bit disorienting, but it's nothing to pull you out of the show, and it's not unbearable. The show is constantly #1 on Amazon with every release and every season announcement, so you all are going to watch it. Let's not kid ourselves, alright? Season 3 is definitely better than Season 2, but just a little bit lower than Season 1. And with the interest that the season that brought me specifically, has me invested in this story and hungry for more Invincible content. Season 3 gets an 8.5 out of 10, with a current average of an 8-ish out of 10 for the series thus far. And that's it. I try to leave some of the major details out and keep it relatively spoiler free so you all can enjoy it and watch it all the same. But yeah, let me know what you all think of Invincible in the comments below. Hope you all enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe. If you dislike, tell me why. Jesus loves you, and I'll see you all soon.